Let's do a little Media Literacy 101. It's a US outlet, but it is a UK writer. Let's start with the title, which again, Jack did not write this title, okay? It is meant to be sensationalized. It is meant to garner clicks. It's meant to perform well, so that is higher up in the search engine rankings. Joe Biden was, quote, wandering around, end quote, during King Charles's meeting. So we know this is a direct quote from someone. Who might that person be? The first paragraph says, King Charles III had to really guide Joe Biden on Monday as the US president was wandering around, according to the director of a British Heritage Foundation. And I said, I'm not a betting man, but I'm going to bet that is good old Niall. And it was. Niall is the director of the Thatcher Center for Freedom. He also works with the Heritage Foundation in the United States. He's honestly the kind of guy that would work on a Ted Cruz campaign. It is not surprising that he would play into this conservative narrative that we see a lot in the United States that questions Joe Biden's competency to lead, especially with a re-election coming up. So I'm not sure how you work that in, but not taking space to maybe question the motivations or go into a little more detail about the work Niall does seems a little unfair. But then there's this part. So he says, quote, judging by the images from Windsor, it did appear that at times Biden almost didn't know where he was, and that's increasingly the case when he travels on the international stage. It's very hit or miss. Judging by images? What are you, a body language expert? Also, notice the word appears. He's not saying Biden did not know where he was totally lost. He's saying it appears. I'm suggesting. To credit the writer, he does bring in a different point of view. It is surprisingly Robert Jobson, who is noted as the author of the book, Our King, the Man and the Monarch Revealed. And Jobson also has a motivation to push this as a very successful event, because the narrative that he is trying to sell is that this is a different time, a different monarch. Charles gets Joe Biden. He's cool with all the touchy-feely stuff. Forget all that royal protocol nonsense that we regularly lean into, but not in this case. It's all good. But most people don't read the whole article through. So if you only read the first half of this piece, you think that Niall is the expert and that's what you're going to take away from it. I appreciate offering opinions from both sides. I think I would have moved it up a little earlier and set up the article for the fact that you were going to be getting two different points of view. Instead of Jobson, a US-UK policy expert might have been a better person to interview. But this is why media literacy is so important. You have to look at what is behind the headline, the incentives behind the people quoted, the way an article is structured. So just a little media literacy 101.